Okay, so as a follow-up to our big two-part opener, we have Castle, Sweet Castle. Now, the third episode in a season of Friendship is Magic is almost always a transition-type episode. With the exception of Too Many Pinkie Pies in Season 3, they're all group conflict stories that divide the spotlight evenly among the entire main cast while still putting Twilight at the center. They try to settle us in, establish the new dynamic, and create a good starting point for the season to build from. And while they've ranged from kinda boring to actually pretty lively and entertaining, they're never really the best or the worst episodes. They're just solid supporting blocks. Again, with the exception of Too Many Pinkie Pies, which was actually rather fantastic. Just assume that one doesn't count from now on. Now, when I came across the still shot of Twilight and Spike mourning their former house together, I did start to wonder if this one might instead try to be one of those episodes with greater dramatic significance. But no, down to its very DNA, Castle Sweet Castle is exactly the kind of third episode that the other ones were. But that makes it an important entry. These episodes usually say a lot about what a season will try to do and how much we can expect from it. So, what did this one deliver? Well, although the first portion was a little bit hammy, I'll be honest, it did kind of melt me.
You probably can't wait to get back to your castle and take your own bath, huh?
Oh no, Angel got dirty.
He raced me like 100 times the other day and lost every time.
I'm awake.
This part is Twilight at her most adorable. You can feel where she's coming from so well, how she's almost clinging to her friends, because even helping them with their chores is more enjoyable and comfortable to her than her luxuriously cold and totally impersonal new home. Yes, being covered in mud and hanging around so long that Fluttershy is trying to throw you out is still preferable to her, because she at least has some familiarity there. In fact, I'm sure a lot of us can relate. I lived in different places every year I was on campus, and I didn't spend any time at any of them when I wasn't sleeping or working, except for the one I shared with 3 friends who liked to hang out a lot. But even if you haven't had that before, we spent a lot of time with the gang in Twilight's old home too, and we haven't seen much of this castle either, so the adjustment is there for us as well. But, even with a premise that already carries some emotional weight ahead of time, the parts with the friends fighting over how to redecorate the castle for Twilight felt very gimmicky. Like even more than Season 1's third episode, The Ticketmaster, which is often the go-to example for present-biased fans looking to prove that Season 1 took time to get going, or that its writer, series creator Lauren Faust, was not a huge loss to the team. And don't look at me. As far as I'm concerned, it was fine. Ticketmaster used a formula, but it did not feel all that formulaic. The plot of 1 extra ticket and 5 friends who all want it can be kind of obligatory, but in this case they were talking about a party that literally everyone wanted to go to, so of course they all had a reason. In fact, in a great bit of 3-dimensional writing, some of their reasons sounded like wishful thinking at best, but still, that's just why they wanted it so much. The gimmick did start to show when they all started bribing Twilight with favors one by one, but even those had pretty good comedic timing, and individually, they didn't feel too unnatural for the characters. Castle Sweet Castle is a little more mixed in its attempt to smoothly work its gimmick into a story about these characters. On one hand, get it? They all tried to make the castle look like their homes. That can't work. That's too much. I mean, how did they not see that coming? Wait, forget I said that. Okay, so now they have to take decorations out, but they can't agree, because they all hate each other's themes, so they wind up taking out everything. So there's not enough. Oh, and now Twilight's almost back. I mean, just think.
If any pony should be able to make her feel comfortable in her new home, it's us. If we can't do it,
Then Twilight will be stuck living in a castle that just makes her feel sad.
Yeah, I mean, what else could she possibly do? Try again tomorrow? Sorry, I just had to get that off my chest. I think part of this comes from the fact that this is the first My Little Pony episode from package deal writers Joanna Lewis and Christine Sonko. When you're first introducing yourself to a new audience, you often feel the need to err on the side of caution and make sure they know where you're coming from, because you're still getting a sense of what they expect. I, of course, would do it so much better, but that said, are they good writers? Well, that brings us to the other side of the fence, because what keeps this portion afloat is the comedy woven in. For example, I love how Pinkie Pie is nothing but enthusiastic about their first attempt and actually joins in with the stampeding animals. Or in other cases, it's not even the joke so much as how it's delivered.
I did exactly what I would do if this were my home.
but it's not your home. It's Twilight's home, where she keeps all her Rainbow Dash trophies.
Plus, if it's obvious what they're doing, at least they don't play it up on top of that. For example, I like that when they throw in a song that's somewhere between Art of the Dress and Ballad of the Crystal Empire, they play it straight and wait until the last shot to confirm that the gang did kinda screw this one up. So at its worst, it's hammy but enjoyable. How about at its best? Well, I already said that Twilight got us off to a great start. Where she's concerned, Spike pretty much takes over the comedy after that, including that great bit where he finds out the hard way that Bulk Biceps works at the massage parlor of all places. But both of them share that sweet little moment where they think back on how they missed the library. And it all amounts to a sentimental little ending that actually works pretty well. When the gang starts thinking back on all the memories they have of the library, even I started getting a little nostalgic. And it's barely even been a year since I first saw any of them. So their solution, to make a chandelier memorial to Twilight's old memories, definitely carries some weight, as do the morals on moderation and what makes home feel like home. Enough, in fact, for me to say that it's a good, solid episode. Not really one that transcends its demographic, at least not on its own, but I think it's exactly the kind of sweet start that fans are looking for. Now, I said before that the third episode is usually a good reflection of what's to come in the season. The Ticketmaster, our prototypical example, conveyed the switch to episodes that had fun just exploring these characters and the trials that can arise while making new friends. Lesson 0 refined what came before and switched the format to suggest this relationship was progressing, all the while staying just as enthusiastic. Season 3 didn't really have one. Because, love it or hate it, the one thing it definitely didn't mind was cutting corners. And Castlemania in Season 4 showed the writers heading back to the drawing board and looking for whole new ways to keep the fun going, even if they still had to get back in the swing of things with their storytelling. So how about Castle Sweet Castle? Well, I think the key line here is Applejack's bit on Twilight being ready to make new memories.
And the best part of it is, it's made from the roots of the Golden Oak Library, so you'll never forget where you came from.
I am ready to make new memories here.
If you think about it, the show has finally become what people were afraid of when they cried that Magical Mystery Cure jumped the shark, a new and different show about Twilight's life as a princess. Except since they spent the entire 4th season building her to this point, it fits much better than it probably would have back then. And at the same time, it's a fresh start, both for the writers, with their changing roster, and for the characters, since all of the arcs that got us to this point have been resolved. So, in a way, maybe we should compare it to Season 1. In my opinion, it's certainly off to almost as good a start, better than Seasons 3 and 4. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. If you didn't, send it to your enemies. And if you'd like to watch another video in this series, click here. Otherwise, just check the description for more links, and I'll see you next time.